Good morning, my SS3 students. Last week I gave you an assignment. So I told you that you ought to be doing more of revision this time because you have read enough. So I gave you an assignment based on what I got from the past WAEC exams. And I told you to attempt the questions. So today we're going to attempt these questions in class to enable you to study well. So the first question in the assignment I gave you is 1. Define sovereignty. Number 1 question. Now because you're in SS3, you have to make sure that you understand each question given to you. One thing is to understand the question, and the other one is to give the answer required. Now, if you're asked to define sovereignty, you're asked to do what? To define sovereignty. Are you getting me? They are not saying you should explain, but what they require from you at that moment is what? That definition. So the first question here is what? Define sovereignty. And say that sovereignty can be defined as the supreme power of the state over its what? Citizens. It is the power of the state to make laws and also to enforce those laws without interference or without any state intruding. That is what? Sovereignty. So they said you should define sovereignty. And then this idea of sovereignty originated from a man called Govt. He's a man that introduced this in the year 1530 to 1590. Now this Govt is a political thinker and a what? A philosopher. So each time you hear about sovereignty, your mind should go straight to Govt. So I'm going to write the definition for you on the board. This is what we did in SS1, but all the same I can still give you other things altogether. Okay, so define sovereignty. And the definition of sovereignty is written on the board as sovereignty can be defined as the supreme power of a state. Sorry, I omitted something. Supreme power of a state over its what? Citizens. Then it is the power of the state to make laws and enforce them without any interference by other states. And I said that this idea of sovereignty originated from a man called Govt in the year 1530 to 1590. And then Govt is a political thinker and what? A philosopher. Then 2B 4 characteristics of sovereignty. This is 1A. Then this is 1B. Outline 4 characteristics of sovereignty. Now, one of the features, you know that characteristics and features are the same, isn't it? So in case they say you should outline 4 features of sovereignty. In other words, they are telling you to write the characteristics of what? Sovereignty. And the word outline there, they did not say you should explain. Outline can equally mean what? List. So they expect you to do what? To list the characteristics of sovereignty. Now, 1, permanence is one of the characteristics of sovereignty. Now, sovereignty is permanent. I'm just explaining this. What you ought to do is just to list for them. Now, sovereignty is what? Permanent in a state. As far as a state remains permanent, sovereignty is also what? Permanent. It is only governments that can what? Change. Then another characteristic of sovereignty is that a sovereign state is what? Independent of foreign control. Remember what we said in the definition? That the state has the power to make laws and enforce them without any what? Interference. So in the other way around, a sovereign state is what? Independent of what? The foreign control. Then another feature of sovereignty again is absoluteness. I think I need to write this on the board. Absoluteness. It's 9 4 characteristics. Number 1B, they said we should outline 4 characteristics of what? Sovereignty. So I think outline here means what? List. 1, permanence. Sovereignty is permanent in a state. Then a sovereign state. Then thirdly, absoluteness. And then the last one, indivisibility. They did not say we should explain. What they said we should do is what? List. Outline. Then the next question, number 3 question, define bill. 2A. I told you that I got most of these questions from your past YF questions. So in number 2A, they said we should define what? Bill. I know you're familiar with this already. Now, bill is a proposal of action discussed in the parliament and later signed into law by the president. They said we should what? Define. So you're expected to go straight to the point. And remember, this time they even give you space to answer your questions inside your question sheet, to tell you that you don't need much word explanation. So if you're asked to define bill, you go straight to the point and tell them that a bill is what? A proposal of what? Action discussed in the parliament and then later signed into law by who? The president. So let me write it here. A bill is a proposal of action discussed in the parliament and later signed into law by the president. So a bill is a bill until it is signed by the executive. Then, number 2B, they said we should outline 5 processes a bill becomes a law in the presidential system of government. That's number 2B. outline 5 processes. A bill becomes a law in the presidential system of government. So they're still telling us to do it. Now, 1, first reading. 2, second reading. 3, committee stage. 4, report stage. And then 5, remember they said 5. So even if you know all of them, that's 7, there are 7 in number, you're just expected to write only 5. When you write 7, you're on your own. So they said you should outline. Look at them here. You have first reading, second reading, committee stage, report stage, and third reading. Then number 3A. Number 3A, they said you should, that what is bicameral legislation? Okay, now 3A, the question is, what is bicameral legislation? I think this is SS2 work, and I guess we've done it. I'm not guessing, I know we have done it. So they said you should define bicameral what? Legislation. So bicameral legislature is a process or act of carrying out legislative function by 2 chambers in a country. And I told you that Nigeria practices this kind of words, bicameral legislature, because we have the upper and what? The lower house. And then the upper and the lower house, you have in the upper the Senate, and in the lower house you have what? The House of Reps. And then USA also practice this kind of legislature, bicameral legislature. They also have the Senate and what? House of Reps. The same thing goes to Britain. I'm just giving you examples of countries that practice what? Bicameral legislation. Britain also practice what? Bicameral legislation. They have the House of Lords and the House of what? Commons. So if you're asked to define this, you say bicameral legislature is defined as a process or act of carrying out legislative functions by 2 chambers in a country. So let me write it for you on the board for easy reference. Okay? Bicameral legislature is the process of act of carrying out legislative functions by 2 chambers in a country. In Nigeria, we have 2 chambers. We practice this system. That's the upper and the lower house. Then in 3B, question 3B, they said we should define unicameral legislature. This one is bicameral, while this one is what? Unicameral legislature. Unicameral legislation. Okay, the unicameral legislation is the process or act of carrying out legislative functions one chamber. So the definition of unicameral on the board. He said unicameral legislature is the process or act of carrying out legislative function by only one chamber. And then this kind of legislative process is mostly found in countries practicing what? Unitary system of government. That's countries that are not what? Large in number. Examples of such countries are what? We have Denmark, we have Finland, we have Sweden, we have Switzerland, Israel, and so on and so forth. Then in question 4, this is why I past questions. They said we should define colonialism. We also did this in SS2. That should be top 10, if I'm not mistaken. 4A, define colonialism. Define what? Colonialism. I say it again, they did not say you should explain, but they said you should do what? Define. So we are going to define colonialism. Now, colonialism can be defined as the imposition of a more developed culture over a less developed one. Let me write it on the board. Of my expansionists. And economic. Okay. So colonialism can be defined as the imposition of a more developed culture over a less developed one, backed up by expansionism and what? Economic adventurism. You can also define colonialism again as the policy of a country seeking to extend or retain authority over other people or territories. Now with the aim of what? Controlling them economically. Then you can also define colonialism as the practice by which a powerful country directly controls the less powerful country. Now using their resources to increase their own wealth, power and wealth. Now remember they said we should do what? Define. But I want to add some things to this. Now these colonizers can control their territories politically, economically, and otherwise. And they can even decide to impose their culture on us, impose their religion, and so on and so forth. Now Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Gambia, in West Africa was what? Colonized by Britain. And then Senegal and Togo was colonized by France. So this is the answer to what? 4A. We have so many definitions for what? Colonialism. You can choose the one that is good for you. Then 4B. We said we should outline any 4 positive impacts of colonialism in West Africa. We have the negative impact and what? The positive ones. So if you're asked to write the positive impacts, do not include the negative ones. Because if you write it, they will fail you. But the question here said, outline any 4 positive impact of what? Colonialism in West Africa. That's number 4B. Okay, so number 4B question is outline any 4 positive impacts of colonialism in West Africa, not just in Nigeria, but where? In West Africa. Now, 1, they said you should do what? Outline. So in other words, they said you should do what? List military and technical aids. Then the second one, we have development of political parties. We said we should outline. Then 3, common language. Common language. And 4, the emergence of the press. So they said we should do what? We should outline 4 positive impacts of colonialism in West Africa. Then 1 is what? Military and technical aid. 2, development of political parties. And then 3, common language. And then 4, the emergence of the press. Now let me explain this quickly. Now, talking about military and technical aids, one of the impacts of colonialism is this. In Britain and especially in France, is that they received military and technical aids from what? Their former colonial masters. Then coming down to development of political parties, this is also one of the impacts of what? Colonialism in West Africa. Now, this made most of the educated elites to begin to form political parties to help to do what? To stop colonialism and struggle for what? Political independence. Then common language is another impact of what? Colonialism in West Africa. Now, English language was spoken in the territories which was colonized by Britain, and then French was spoken in places like Senegal, Togo, and the rest of them. That's places that was what? That was colonized by France. Then the emergence of the press. This also helps to do what? To fight against colonialism. Now the educated elites started forming what? Started forming something like this, newspapers, and this helped them struggle against what? Colonialism. Then in the last question, the last but not the least, number 5, they said we should explain the meaning of conflict. This one is SS3 work. This one is what? SS3 work. Define conflict. Number 5A. Now they said we should define again, Abby. So conflict can be defined as what? There's a disagreement between individuals, people, groups of what? People, clashes of ideas and principles, etc. They said we should do what? We should define. Then coming down to, let me write it here. Okay. So conflict can be defined as a disagreement between individuals, people, groups of people, clashes of ideas, and what? Principles. Then number 5B, they said we should outline 4 causes of conflict. Outline 4 again. 4 causes of what? Conflict. So they are telling us to do what? To list again, Abi. Then 1 causes of conflict, we have disagreement. Then another causes of conflict is what? Leadership tussle. Then another causes of conflict again is limited resources. Limited resources. Then the last one is attitudinal. Differences. So they said we should what? Outline the 4 causes of conflict. 1 is disagreement, leadership tussle, limited resources, then attitudinal what? Differences. Thank you very much.